So much to talk about tonight. Baseball, basketball, hockey, football. Man, there's so much to get into tonight. But it is 10 p.m. It is Wednesday night, and we are live. And well, welcome everybody to New York Sports WickerMedia. I'm Wa2K99. Thank you as always for taking the time to join me on Wednesday nights. My goodness, what a night it has been so far. A whole lot of stuff going on in the world of New York sports. Yes, we'll be spending a whole lot of time on the Jets in a little bit, but right now I want to talk about some things that are making me happy right now. There's a lot of good things going on. Why are we letting the Jets weigh us down? But seriously, though, we do have some Jets trivia later on. I do want to try a little game a little bit later on. Something that I worked up a little bit. We'll do that a little bit later on tonight after trivia. We'll tell you a little bit more about that as we go on. And, of course, super chats and super thanks are available. Anybody wants to help, say thank you in that way. I appreciate it very much. All right, we're going to get into the football in a little bit. But let's talk about what's on my mind right now with a little bit of 3 and out. We're talking a little hockey first. As I'm recording, the New York Rangers just took a 3-2 lead over the Detroit Red Wings, killing a penalty and then breaking right out after that penalty. Jimmy Vesey scoring a goal, and the Rangers are currently up 3-2 with about 3 or 4 minutes to go in the third period. Man, oh man, this has been a pretty crazy game. Detroit, a team definitely on the rise. The Rangers now top team in the Metropolitan Division, which is fantastic. But last night, on Tuesday night, the Devils and the Islanders played. So I wanted to take a little bit of time to watch that game. And my gosh, what can I say? The Islanders had a 4-2 lead after the second period. They had scored 3 straight goals. The Devils wind up winning the game 5-4 on a goal by Curtis Lazar with 22 seconds to go in the game. It was just a scrum in front of the net, but somehow Lazar gets wide open to the left of the goaltender, and he's wide open, able to poke the puck in with 22 seconds left. And guys, I've talked about it before here on this channel, just how much the Islanders have struggled in the third period. This may have been their worst one yet. Okay, Jack Hughes scores to make it a 4-3 game to cut that Islander lead down. Then here's where it gets a little bit crazy. Jesper Bratt of the Devils, he gets called for interference, but a minute later, Matthew Barzal takes a hooking penalty, which negates the power play. 30 seconds after that, Simon Holmstrom takes an Islander penalty, and just like that, the Devils have a 4-on-3 man advantage. Nico Hischier ties the game for the Devils. After that, the Islanders fail on another power play. And then Lazar, not Alan Lazar, no. This is a Lazar who actually did something right. Curtis Lazar scores, and the Islanders go home with no points. And right now, the Islanders are in 5th in the division. The Devils are in 6th. But if you're a Devils fan, you got to be pretty happy because, they got their top 2 centers back in Hughes and Hischier. I think they're going to have a very good chance to go on a pretty long run soon. As a Rangers fan, I'm just happy that the game didn't go to overtime, which means that both teams would have gotten a point. But the Islanders, I don't know if they can't figure this out in the third period. These third period struggles out. Lane Lambert is not going to be the coach all that much longer. All right, before we get into the second thing, just want to say a couple quick hellos. Jets mess. The first one here. Always good to see you, my friend. And the great Hank G is here as well. Hi, Hank. Hope you're having a great week, my friend. Hope everybody had a really, really good Thanksgiving. Oh, and by the way, quick thank you to everybody who watched my most recent Rangers video I put up yesterday. I guess it would have been Monday night. Over 1,500 views. That is unbelievable. 1,500 views. I'm pretty happy about that. So thanks to everybody who checked that one out. Okay, on to a little bit of basketball with the New York Knicks. They make the quarterfinals of that just absurd, useless, pointless midseason play-in tournament. They absolutely trounced the Charlotte Hornets. Julius Randle, 25 points, 20 rebounds. You got Josh Hart coming off the bench with 17 points. Emmanuel Quigley with 23 points off the bench. Now, if you're interested in this tournament where all the players get is $500,000, $50,000 each, about whatever, $500,000 per player and a trophy. If you're into that, the next game will be in Milwaukee on Tuesday night in a quarterfinal. That'll be the second time the Knicks have played in Milwaukee. To me, it's just another regular season game. Nothing more and nothing less. You know, if this tournament was for something like draft position or for a playoff spot or something like that, you know, there'd be like tangible rewards. But do I really care if an NBA player has another $500,000 in his bank account on Monday? I really, really don't. I really don't. The Knicks, here's what we're learning about them. They're a good team. They are a fun team, but we're yet to see if they could take that one more step with what they have to get to that next level to compete with the Bucks, to compete with the Celtics, to compete with the 76ers. Hey, even the Orlando Magic, who would have believed this? The Magic have won 7 games in a row. They're playing amazing defense, great turnover rate, rebounding really well. It's working for them. You know, Orlando's won 7 in a row. Got to give them credit because I sure as heck didn't see that coming. But the Knicks are, I think, one step away from being a legitimate contender. But can they do that with what they have, or are they eventually going to have to go out and sign another player? All right, Hank G with a quick comment. This would be more interesting if they would invite some European teams. If that was the case, Hank, then I think you got to make it an off-season tournament because then these games count in the regular season, you know. So if you do that, then to me you're kind of messing with the league and messing with, I'd say, the integrity. But you know, at that point, you know, how much what does it really have? So I think an off-season tournament would make sense, maybe as like an exhibition or something like that. You could do a little off-season thing or do something made for the All-Star game. Now that would be fun. Maybe have like some European All-Stars come in and play the NBA All-Stars. Now that I think could be a little bit fun. But no, I can't bring them in for an actual regular season game. But that's kind of how I feel about it. All right, and on to baseball. Wow, we've had a little bit of news coming down today. Now, first of all, the winter meetings will start Monday night in Nashville, Tennessee. I expect some trades to go down. I think some starting pitchers are going to get moved. Shane Bieber from Cleveland, Dylan Cease from the White Sox. There's some pretty strong rumors as of right now that Cease, who's a very good starter, might get traded to the Atlanta Braves. He's from Georgia. Man, I do not need to see him there. I would say this: his mustache would match Spencer Strider's mustache very well. Also, Tyler Glass now from the Rays could go. Corbin Burns from the Milwaukee Brewers. That's a big one. So most of these guys are upcoming free agents. So you have to wonder if some of them are going to be moved. Juan Soto, I don't know. That seems to be the big move. Will he go? Will he not go? He is a year away from free agency. You know, personally speaking, as a Mets fan, I would rather them not trade for Soto when he could cost you just dollars next year. Okay. But we did get some actual news today from the New York Mets side of things. Luis Severino has signed a 1-year deal with the New York Mets for $13 million. I got to tell you, this has been a pretty polarizing transaction from what I've seen on social media. It seems a lot of Mets fans are cool with it. A lot of Mets fans hate it. I'm sure that the Yankees side of things bothers them. I actually like that. Not that I'm trying to take Yankees players away, but the fact that the former Yankees bench coach is now the manager of the Mets. He knows that roster. You know, I don't know if Severino would have come to the Mets if Carlos Mendoza was not the manager. So I like that you have that connection. Now, Severino did struggle this year. He had a 6.65 ERA, which the detractors are very quick to point out. But over his previous 7 seasons, his ERA was 3.39 in 638 innings. So, hey, it's a 1-year contract. I'll try anybody on a 1-year contract, okay? And for $13 million, why not? Sonny Gray is making $25 million a year. I mean, come on. All right. So $13 million up to $15 million if he hits his performance bonuses. So I think it's a worthwhile signing. Certainly not the only starting pitcher that the Mets are going to acquire. I think they need to acquire two more. But Severino as a fourth or fifth starter, absolutely worth it. Let's see what the upside can be. Now, there have also been reports that the Mets have shown interest in left-handed starter Eduardo Rodriguez, which I'm very much in favor of. 30 years old, and last year he had a career-best 3.30 ERA pitching for the Detroit Tigers. He's also pitched in Boston, so he's used to a big market. But I was actually there at Mets-Tigers in Detroit when Justin Verlander made his first start as a Met. Of course, he immediately gave up 2 home runs in the first inning. Just a beautiful day in the Motor City that I had. The highlight of my whole day were the steak tacos I got in the center field stands, you know? But the thing with that is it was Eduardo Rodriguez who was the dominating starting pitcher. The Mets couldn't touch him for about 8 innings that day. I mean, he was absolutely dynamic. And, it was interesting that he was going to be traded this past season to the Dodgers, but he rejected the trade because he didn't want to go to the West Coast. So that leads me to think he's looking more towards the East Coast, towards the Midwest. Let's see where Rodriguez winds up going. And also, we have some more late-breaking news. In the last hour, the Mets agreed to terms with Joey Wendell, a utility infielder, a 1-year, $2 million contract. So this is pretty much the Luis Guillorme replacement. He's a lesser defensive player, but he can certainly hit better. He's also well-liked in the clubhouse, was with Miami the last 2 years. Also was an all-star in 2021. I like that. So obviously not a team-changing move, nothing that's going to, sell any more season tickets or sell jerseys. But, one step at a time. The most marquee players aren't always the first ones to sign. So just keep that in mind. But as the winter meetings approach, and now that we're also out of Thanksgiving, it's really after Thanksgiving these moves start to happen. Last year, the first major domino to fall, the first big free agent to sign was Jose Abreu with Houston. And that happened the Monday after Thanksgiving. Now it's the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. We're slowly starting to see a couple of moves getting made. All right, so that's what's on my mind with the 3 and out. Quick update. Yep, it looks like the Rangers are going to, goals upheld. Looks like the Rangers are in pretty good shape to knock off Detroit. All right. Well, guys, let's flip the banner from orange to green. There we go. That's the background that you all are a little bit familiar with. And we're going to go back to kind of our usual deal here. I'm going to give you some stats. We're going to talk about the snap counts, the DVOA. Of course, we'll do the trivia a little bit. I've got 5 key stats about the Atlanta Falcons to know going into this just rip-roar of a game on Sunday. It should be interesting. And, hey, Mark, if you got any comments, if you have any questions for me, throw them right down in there in the comments. Yeah, because this show's a whole lot more fun when I get to go back and forth with you guys. All right. So first of all, let's talk a little before we do that, I'm still gonna play it anyway. Now I feel like I'm in the mood to do some Jets talk. Okay. Well, let's look at the DVOA numbers and where the Jets rank in the pantheon, if that's the right word to use in that context, of the National Football League. DVOA. So, with the offense, now I'm basing these rankings from 2 weeks ago since we didn't talk about it last week, but they've remained 30th in offense. Amazingly, as bad as they seem to get week upon week, nothing has changed in terms of their ranking. They are still 30th, did not change at all from 2 weeks ago. Their defense actually gone up a little bit. They went up 1 from 6th in the league to 5th. The only defenses ranked higher than the Jets are Cleveland, Baltimore, Dallas, and Kansas City. So that's a pretty good place to be, having that top 5 defense in DVOA, despite the fact that you could tell they are getting incredibly frustrated with the just Pop Warner level offense that they play with. And then on special teams, they did drop 6 spots. So they were number 1 for a long time, but they did drop down to 7. And we can imagine a couple of reasons why. Yeah, special teams have not been as good at all, especially without Justin Hardy. But, hey, his practice window is open. hopefully we'll see Hardy back on the field very, very soon. And in terms of overall DVOA, the Jets are 23rd in the NFL, down 2 spots from 2 weeks ago. The teams that are ranked worse than them are in order: New England, 24, Denver, 25th, despite their 5-game winning streak. Then you've got Chicago, the Washington Commandskins, the Raiders, then the Falcons. So the Jets' upcoming opponent this week is ranked 29th. Then you've got Arizona 30, Carolina at 31, and finally at number 32, it is the New York Football Giants. All right, so that's where the Jets rank with the DVOA overall. Yeah, nothing I can say that's too surprising. It's the fact that Carolina and the Giants are actually ranked as having worse offenses. It is pretty remarkable. All right, let's get into a little bit of news and notes. So the big news of the day coming from Florham Park is that the Jets opened the 21-day practice window for Aaron Rodgers. So what that means is he is able to practice. He is not cleared for contact yet. He is cleared for just the latest PR phrase, functional football activity, a phrase nobody had heard of until about 9-10 hours ago. All right. So what he did was warm-ups, didn't participate in the team stretch, right? Dropbacks and snaps from center. He was throwing to staffers. He was really throwing to staffers first. No word on if the staffer was actually Alan Lazard. Then there were some short routes and play action routes to wide receivers as well. So he was going through like kind of the motions a little bit, but not a full like 11 on 11. It was kind of like one-on-one drills, minor drills, nothing too crazy, which makes sense. There's no reason to push anything too quickly, but nothing will be decided. This is basically what he's going to do for the next couple of weeks. There's not going to be any kind of a decision being made on if he's going to play or not up until the end of that 3-week window. That will be on December 20th. And at that point, the Jets have 3 more games to go against Washington, Cleveland, and New England. The Jets, let's be honest, will be officially eliminated by then. And the one thing that's bothering me about this, guys, I got to tell you, is that Robert Saleh is really giving the indication that if Aaron Rodgers wants to play, he will play. Now, if he's cleared by medical professionals and he wants to play, then that's fine. But I've heard some people saying they're right. It feels like Aaron Rodgers he's not just the general manager. He's now also medical trainer and offensive play caller, which actually would be an upgrade from Nathaniel Hackett. I don't know. I just worry that Rodgers feels like he has so much to prove. He wants to, he is very focused on the narrative around him. He is very conscious of how he is perceived around football and around, the pop culture, really. So, the whole key for me is 2024 because to me, the Jets are going to have that 1 year to really, really go for it. Maybe one more year after that, but I think it's going to be all in for 2024. That's what I really think the case is going to be. And goodness gracious, just see if there's any breaking news out here. So. Yeah, so we'll see if the Jets have anything left to play for. Rodgers has said it's going to be all about his health, and if the Jets are alive, alive in what sense? You could be on the respirators with barely a heartbeat, you could still be alive. But hey, the Jets are not officially eliminated from the playoff race yet. One on the playoff scenario generator, and if they win all 6 of their remaining games, and cows are flying over the moon, then they might have a shot. It's just frustrating. It's really, really frustrating. Now, as far as the injuries go, then we'll get into the snap counts. So with injuries, Mekhi Becton looks actually, let's take one quick second here. And let's just say hi to a couple people in the chat. I see the chat starting to get a little bit busy over here. Wild Wave Rangers win. Yes, they do. Feels good. I will be in D.C. in about a week and a half for Rangers Capitals. I am really, really excited. Washington having a good year. Caps are playing well. They got like a 6% power play, but they're finding ways to win games. So got to give them credit. I think it's going to be a whole lot of fun, but I am very excited to get up to D.C. Mike D, haven't seen him in a while. How you doing, Mike? Why aren't you on Jeremy's show anymore? Hey, it was Jeremy's channel, and he chose to go in a different direction. It's his choice, and that's really it. That's really all there is to it. But Yeah, but he and I were on with Nick about a week and a half ago on Nick Shine's channel. So, and that was our first time together since what happened. So, hey, Harlan Abraham, good to see you. The great JW, my goodness, good to see you, my friend. Good to see you. All right, I appreciate you guys coming over. That is very very cool. That's very cool. Yeah, yeah, it's good feeling. But things are slowly getting better for all of us. So that's good. Okay, so with the injuries, I'm going to get into that in a little bit. By the way, guys, for those who haven't been here in a while, just mention we will be doing trivia a little bit later on. And I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, I think, when we had just a few people here. I've got an idea for a game. I worked on this for like 2 days. Just something, a little bit of a fun exercise, but we'll try that a little bit later after trivia, see if you guys like it or not. And, because why not try some different stuff to have a little fun, because with the way the Jet season is going, we all need a little bit of fun, right? So, so Mekhi Becton looks like he has a good chance to return this week. And if he can play, he will play because he's playing for a contract. Also, Dwayne Brown has a good chance to return in time for this game. Wes Schweitzer, I think that's a pretty underrated situation as well, because I don't know about you all. I don't need to see Xavier Newman on the field anymore. I absolutely do not, but they've opened up his practice window. And as I mentioned earlier, they also opened the practice window for Justin Hardy on special teams. So, hey, Nobcraft, how you doing, man? Oh, well, boom, boom. Yeah. Good to see you, man. Also, we got the great David D here. Good to see you, too. Salute to you, my friend. Thanks, Harlan. Please hit the like button. Yep, that's one of the best ways to get word out about the show. That and sharing it with a friend. Yeah, your likes mean a whole heck of a lot. Thank you for that. Thank you all for that. So, as far as what I'm thinking with the offensive line, at this point, I don't think you can move Joe Tippmann off center. I mean, he has been absolutely fantastic. We'll get into a little bit more about Joe Tippmann a little bit. The title of the show tonight is What to Look Forward to the Rest of the Jets season, and we will get into that a little bit later on in the show. But I'm thinking about what I would want to see on the offensive line this week, and let me know if you have an idea for how you want to see the line arranged. Put it down there in the comments. Let's see if we agree, disagree, all good. But I think they're going to play Dwayne Brown as soon as they can. I think they're going to put him at left tackle because he's never played another position. Personally, I would like to see Becton at left tackle. I just don't know if Brown is willing to be flexible enough to go to right tackle. But regardless, the BB guns are your two tackles. Not that I've ever heard them call the BB guns, but for Becton Brown, I kind of like the idea of BB guns. And then in the interior offensive line, Laken Tomlinson, of course, at left guard, never misses a game, never misses a snap. Joe Tippmann at center, and I would put Schweitzer in at right guard. I don't trust Max Mitchell. I definitely don't trust Billy Turner, and I never want to see Xavier Newman again, not even on the practice squad. So I really hope Schweitzer is able to play. If he isn't, I guess you'd have to – I don't know. I mean, I would rather play Mitchell than Newman, but that's kind of where my thoughts are right now. Yeah, the sooner Schweitzer can come back, the better. Didn't hear anything about Connor McGovern, though, unfortunately. So no news in this case, I would say, is bad news. All right, but that's how I go. I would go Brown, Tomlinson, Tippmann, Schweitzer, and Becton from left to right. Okay, so now what we're going to do, we're going to look at some snap counts here. And we're going to look at the offense first, okay? And we're going to look at the snap counts the Jets had in the game against the Dolphins and compare that to the previous week against the Bills. All right, so if we go to and quarterback, of course, Tim Boyle played all 58 snaps. So the Jets had 58 snaps on offense. That was one more snap than they had the prior week against Buffalo. Now, Breece Hall played 38 snaps. That was up 2 from the previous week. Dalvin Cook, you saw his time go up a little bit, 19 snaps. So you can see a little bit of an uptick in the usage of Dalvin Cook, and I think he's been getting better as the year has gone on. It's just that he gets used in a very weird way by this offensive coordinator. So, yeah, so I don't know. It's like they'll use him for one drive, and that's his one drive for the game, and then he sits down. So, yes, I don't really know. Nick Barden, I like seeing the fullback on the field. 6 snaps, up 4 from the previous week. Israel Abanikanda, he had 10 snaps against Buffalo and a big fat bagel a big fat goose egg, a donut, a golf ball, whatever it might have been. Anything that's round, that's what a Anaconda had. No snaps whatsoever because he apparently wasn't ready to pick up pass protection. Okay. I know that's part of being a running back in the NFL. I absolutely understand that, but it's like, why was he ready to do it last week but not this week? I don't know. I don't get it. All right, and then at wide, I'll go to tight end. Ty Conklin had 35 snaps. His time went down a little bit, down 3 snaps from the prior week. Jeremy Ruckert up 2 to 26. CJ Uzomah, I will say this. As down as we've been on the coaching staff and especially the offensive coaches, you can't deny that they have been willing to make some changes. Okay, we know Alan Lazard, skipping ahead to wide receiver really briefly, did not play last week. He will this week. But CJ Uzomah's time has gone down substantially. Only 3 snaps against the Dolphins. Okay, so they are willing to give other players opportunities. There is something to be said for that. But wide receiver is interesting. Jason Brownlee. I mean, the Jets are trying all of these wide receivers. Brownlee, Gibson, Charles, Taylor. They're trying all of them. And I got to be honest with you, I never noticed any of them pretty much. I mean, put it this way. If I told you after this game that Jason Brownlee had more snaps in this game than Garrett Wilson did, what would your reaction have been? Would you believe that? How many times, guys, during that game, that disaster on Friday, did you notice Jason Brownlee was on the field? I think maybe I saw him 2 or 3 times at the very, very most. Knobcraft, not a CJ Uzomah fan. 3 snaps for that clown is 14. I'm not going to call him a clown. I mean, he's a good guy. He's liked in the clubhouse. He's just not a good enough football player. I'm not going to knock the guy on a personal level. He's not a bad guy. Just right now, yeah. I mean, if anything, you want to use him on special teams, maybe you could do that, but, no more than that, But, Ruckert's playing about half the snaps, and that's about, I guess that's the way they're going to go. But yeah, Uzomah's time has been cut absolutely drastically, and you have to give a little smidge of credit to the coaching staff for that. Jets mess. Bench Uzomah already. Well, they've definitely cut it down. All right. And they benched Lazard. Maybe Uzomah's time will come soon. Hey, I would love some Kuntz. You know me. I want to see some Zach Kuntz once he's ready. But on the practice squad, I really hope Kuntz gets to play a game or 2 before the season is over. I really, really do. Grandizer, send in the clowns. Yes, there we go. That's about the only line I know, unfortunately. Oh, they're here. That's about the only line I know from that song, are those two lines. But yeah, but Brownlee getting more snaps than Garrett Wilson, I found that pretty amazing. And considering the previous week, right, out of 57 snaps, Brownlee had just 21, and this week he had 57 and 58. Garrett Wilson at 55. Xavier Gibson's time went down a little bit, 42 snaps. Randall Cobb got back on the field, 7 snaps. Irv Charles didn't get anything the previous week. He had 2 snaps. And like we mentioned, Alan Lazard had no time whatsoever on the field. He will this week. I can't expect that he's going to be that much better with Tim Boyle playing. So, Grandizer, send in the wicker chair. Yeah, the wicker chair is right back here. Yeah. Yep, this is the background. I'm in the wicker chair. And then with the offensive line, pretty straight. Oh, by the way, with CJ, just to let you know, 2 weeks ago, that was what, the Raider game? I guess it would have. Yeah, it would have been the Raider game. He had in that game 28 offensive snaps. So he has gone down 25 snaps in the span of 2 weeks. He went from 28 to 6 to 3. So Uzomah's time is getting cut by the week. So, yeah, I don't think Wilson was on the injury report today. I haven't seen anything about it. So, but, I mean, he played 55 out of 58 snaps. So, to me, that means he's well enough. But I think what we're really realizing with Garrett Wilson, he's an excellent he's a very, very good wide receiver, maybe a great wide receiver, but he's like one level down from that upper echelon. He really could use somebody on the other side of him. So, but then again, if you can play with a quarterback, who knows? I mean, if he had Kirk Cousins throwing the ball like Justin Jefferson, what would Justin Jefferson be if Zach Wilson was throwing him these passes for the last couple of years, right? Justin Jefferson may not be the top wide receiver in football by many people's estimations. He may not have been the number 1 overall fantasy pick in 99% of the leagues this year, you know? So just something to keep in mind. As great as a wide receiver can be, he can only do so much if he doesn't have a good quarterback throwing him the football. All right, let's get out of that a little bit. I'm actually going to bring another slide up, just talking about this offense. I don't want to spend a ton of time on the offense because I feel like everybody is just finding new ways to show just how inept this offense is. But all right, I'll take the bait. If you look at the worst points per game over a season in New York Jets history, okay, now this leaves out, I want to point out, this excludes defense and special teams. So this leaves out Xavier Gibson week 1. This leaves out Bryce Hall against Denver. It's going to leave all that stuff out. This leaves out Brandon Eccles as well. Okay, 1976 was the worst points per game the Jets ever had with 10.6 points per game. 1992 was the second worst, 12.3 points per game. 1995, 12.7. 1977, those of you who are Jets fans in the 70s, how the hell did y'all get through that? Now, granted, you had a Super Bowl in recent memory, so maybe it wasn't quite as torturous, but my God, the 1970s, right? The black hole for the Jets up until what we deal with now. Oh, my God. But 13 points in 77, then 2005, 13.3 points per game. Right now, they're averaging 13 points per game on offense. So right now, they would be tied for the 4th worst scoring offense in the history of this franchise. That's where they are right now. And and by the way, the average for the last 5 years, 15.5 points per game. I'll give you another stat that really, really bothers me. The Jets offense for the season, 159 first downs. You know the next worst team? After the Jets, 159 first downs. The next worst team at first downs for the season is the Pittsburgh Steelers with 181. 22 more. And that's the 31st team in that particular department, But the other thing, I'm going to give you one more thing on the offense, because I tell you, if I keep staying on this, I'm just going to get crazy. I just can't keep doing that every week. Okay. It is the philosophy and it's the approach that bothers me the most. I'll give you an example of what I'm talking about. If you look at yards per pass attempt, okay, because we talked about this, when you play not to lose, you often lose. There's a time to be conservative and there's a time to be aggressive. And it feels like the Jets offense is conservative as long as they can possibly be, because they're so afraid of making mistakes. And by doing that, that is a mistake in and of itself. Being afraid to make mistakes is a mistake. This is not the NFL from 1965, okay? Where running the ball, relying on defense and, great special teams is the way to win a game. You can do it once in a while. You cannot do it consistently over a 17-game season, my friends. You can't do it. Okay? If you look at yards per pass attempt, the Jets average 5.8 yards per pass attempt. That's 30th. Pretty lousy. The only two teams worse than that, the New England, actually, I'm sorry. 30th in yards per pass attempt. In last place, the Carolina Panthers at 5.5, and I think basically tied with the Jets or the Patriots. Yeah, the Panthers and the Patriots. How are those teams doing this year? Combined, they got less wins than the Jets. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. So there has been no aggression because they've been so afraid of Zach Wilson making a mistake. They have an offensive line that is down, 5-6 players at this point. And you have 2-3 legit weapons, playmakers. But if you can't block and your quarterback has no idea what to do, is that limited mentally, and now we have one who's that limited physically, your playmakers can only do so much. And that's what makes it so frustrating. My gosh. All right. Well, let's go back to the I need to move on. We'll do some defense snap counts. Then I want to talk about some stuff I'm looking forward to with this team. Because there actually is. So let's go to the defense. All right. Now they had 70 snaps on defense, down 6 from the game against Buffalo. All right, so the defensive line, we had Quinn Williams with 49, down 6, so pretty much right on pace. Jermaine Johnson had 48, down 1. John Franklin Myers had 42, he was down 4. Quinn Jefferson had a little less time in this game, had 35 snaps, played half the game. He was down 9 from the previous week. Bryce Huff got a decent amount of time in this game. He played half the snaps, almost. with 34. Then you've got Solomon Thomas at 28, up 4. So Thomas got a little bit bigger share, took some of those snaps away from Quentin Jefferson. You had Michael Clemens with just 16, down 9 from the previous week. Tenzel Smart with 17. Will McDonald with 14. He's been getting a little bit more time lately. We've seen some flashes from WMC. And, of course, Carl Lawson did not play in this particular game. All right. So you can definitely see a few differences, particularly at defensive tackle. And the big thing to me is Thomas taking snaps away from Jefferson. Now, at linebacker, C.J. Mosley played the whole game, all 70 snaps. Quincy Williams played nearly the whole game. He played 67 snaps. Jamian Sherwood had 17 snaps the previous week. This week he had 12, but he's still playing more than he was in the middle of the season. And then we go to the secondary. Sauce and DJ played all 70 snaps, as did Jordan Whitehead and Tony Adams. And my bad. Sorry about that. Let's bring that back. There we go. That's better. Brandon Echols had 36 snaps, down 22. Michael Carter did not play in this game. Hopefully he will be back this week. Bryce Hall had one very exciting snap. So it was kind of a little bit weird that Echols played that much less than he did the previous week. The Jets were definitely going with more of a 3-linebacker look as opposed to a nickel look in this game. And then with the safety position, I mentioned Whitehead, I mentioned Adams. You got Ashton Davis with 14 snaps and Adrian Amos with 7. He played way, way less, since Tony Adams missed quite a bit of time in the game against Buffalo. So that's kind of what's going on right now in the snap count. It's been quite a bit on the injury situation. Hopefully Carter can come back this week and move Brandon Echols outside. But the biggest thing, we'll get to Atlanta in a little bit. But certainly when you have to deal with Drake London, you feel pretty confident in Sauce and DJ. But then you got to deal with Kyle Pitts, who, despite not having the greatest NFL career, as a number 4 overall pick, has given the Jets fits every time he has played against them. Okay. Now, I want to move on and talk about 5 things. Well, let's look at Wild Waves comment. I hope we get rid of Jordan Whitehead. So unreliable. You know what? Whitehead, he's been a little bit better this year. I think not as good as you would want him to be. Hey, he did have his 3-interception game. But, yeah, definitely the fundamentals of his tackling have to bug you a little bit. But he did sign, what was it? It was a 2-year, $14 million contract, which is not exactly a bad deal. I'm trying to see real quick if he has any guaranteed money. I'm just looking this up real quick. If he has any guaranteed money for 2024. I'm not sure. He has a cap number of $3.3 million, it looks like. Okay. So put it this way. If the Jets want to move on from Whitehead, it's really not going to cost them much of anything. Put it this way. If Whitehead was our biggest issue, that'd be pretty good. I think as far as, and not that I want to look ahead to next season already, because to me, it's a little bit, I don't know. There's still 6 games left. But we can start to figure out what the Jets need. And one thing they will need is a better run stopper up the middle. Without Al Woods, we're definitely seeing quite a loss without him in the middle of the field. So hopefully, I hope maybe with one of those later picks, the Jets can get a nice big 330-pound defensive tackle who can just eat some space up, on those 3rd and 1, on those 4th and goal running attempts, and just run over an interior offensive lineman. So that's what I really hope for. If you have Adams and Whitehead next year, I could deal with it, because to me the rest of the defense is just so good that you can almost live with Whitehead in the safety spot. But hey, if they can find a way to move on and upgrade from him, then all the better. All the better for that. Okay, I'm going to bring this slide up and go back, and I'm going to talk about 5 things that I'm looking forward to watching for the rest of the Jets season over the next 6 games. Okay, so I am going to be looking forward to watching Joe Tippmann and really watching him play on that offensive line, hopefully at center the rest of the year. Last week against Miami, the Jets offensive line allowed 12 pressures and 4 sacks. And on 45 pass block snaps, Joe Tippmann allowed no pressures and no sacks. Tippmann was fantastic. Excellent draft pick by Joe Douglas in the 2nd round. Hey, for whatever people want to say about the Jets and 2nd round draft picks, I think Joe Tippmann, if it wasn't over before, it's definitely over now. Tippmann looks like an absolute home run of a draft pick. So I am very happy that the Jets have him. So I'm looking forward to watching Tippmann continue to get better as a player. Number 2, Mekhi Becton's finish. This is pretty crazy. This has been a big story. There are literally Jets writers, there are Jets beat writers who are opposing each other completely on if Becton's going to be back. You've got Nick Faria and Rich Cimini going head to head. Cimini's convinced he's gone. Faria's convinced he's staying. Who knows what Costello and Connor Hughes and Zach Rosenblatt are saying. But yeah, but the beat is very, very divided. Rarely do I see the beat so divided over an issue. But on the idea of Mekhi Becton coming back next year, yeah, it is going to be a big, big deal. So I think how Becton plays the rest of the season, it will make a difference. Now, by no means do I think the Jets are going to offer him any kind of major deal. I don't think they're going to franchise him. But I could see them offering him maybe a short-term deal, sort of a prove-it situation, 1 year, 2 years. And they'll say, hey, Mekhi, here's what we're willing to offer. Go out there, see if you can get something better. And if he can, God bless him. And if not, then it'll be like, okay, then we're going to dress tackle in the draft. And if Becton doesn't come back, then to me, you draft one of those tackles in the first round. That's where my thought is right now on Becton. I give him an opportunity to come back, but I'm not about to break the bank for him. Just cannot do that. Let's say a quick hello to the great Johnny Jimenez. What's up, my fellow Virginia Jets fan? Good to see you, my friend. Glad you made it for tonight's show. Always good to see you. All right. So how Mekhi Becton is going to finish. He should be back this week from his sprained ankle. Let's see how he plays. Third thing that I'm looking forward to are the possibilities of Pro Bowlers. Now, last year, the Jets had 4 Pro Bowlers: Quinnen, C.J. Mosley, Sauce Gardner, and Justin Hardy. And notice that with my first 2 things I'm looking forward to, I talked about the offense. Because there ain't no Pro Bowlers coming from this offense. That's not about to happen. We could have 8 alternates. We could have like 8, 9 guys pull out of the Pro Bowl game, the Pro Bowl games. Excuse me, they're the Pro Bowl games now, and you still wouldn't have a Jets offensive player go. But if you look at the defense and special teams, you've got some legitimate contenders: Quinnen Williams, Bryce Huff, Quincy Williams, Sauce Gardner, DJ Reed. You could even make an argument for him too. Special teams: Greg Zuerlein and Thomas Morstead. I think the Jets could even have more Pro Bowlers than they did last year, even though they may very well have a worse record, because I think the defense is that much better. And I still think John Franklin Myers, Jermaine Johnson, they've had really good seasons too. Okay, so I think the Jets are going to get at least 1 Pro Bowler on special teams and another, 2 to 3 from the defense. So let's see what happens. Not that I have a whole lot of pride in the Pro Bowl, but it's good when the Jets get a little bit of recognition. It's always good. Number 4, ending the 15-game losing streak against New England. The last time the Jets defeated New England was January 16th. Let me take that back. They beat New England in overtime in 2015. The last time the Jets beat the Patriots in regulation? 2011. January 16, 2011. Yeah, the playoff game. That was the last time. The last time the Jets won a game against New England in regulation was the division round win in Foxborough. January 2011. It has been almost 13 years that happened. And since that time, by the way, since the last win they had, the overtime walk-off, the Eric Decker walk-off win, they have been outscored. Think about these numbers. New England has outscored them 425 to 163 in 15 games. That is disgusting. 425 to 163. That's almost 3 times the number of points we're talking about here. So, you know what? Even if it hurts a little bit with the draft stat, I got to be honest with you. I need to see the streak end. I just want to beat New England, especially if Belichick doesn't come back. I don't know if he will or if he won't, but at least there'll be the one thing we could actually say: we ended Peyton Manning's career in Indianapolis and we ended Bill Belichick's career in New England. At least we would have those 2 things going for us. I would sign up for that. And finally, number 7, draft stress. Yes, the excitement of to tank or not to tank. watching the other teams, seeing if they're winning, seeing if they're losing, and what the heck is going to happen. All right. So, let's see. I've got to find. Oh, I've got to import one more slide here. So let's pull one more thing here. I think we can find it. Yeah, I've got one more thing. We're going to pull up Tankathon here, guys, and we're going to take a little look at where the Jets are in the standings overall. Okay, there we go. Here's Tankathon. It's processing. All right, let's add that. All right, so here are the current Tankathon standings. Okay, so we look at the first three teams. They're kind of in a class by themselves. Carolina, Arizona, and New England. 1, 2, and 2 wins, respectively. It's hard to imagine the Jets are going to fall below them. It's hard to imagine that any of these teams are going to win more game, 2 more games and pass the Jets, but you never know. Anything can happen. But the key is, after record, is strength of schedule. So that's where I wanted to put the strength of schedule here on this chart. And also on the far right, the remaining strength of schedule, so we can kind of get a feel for what these teams have to work with. So for instance, if we look at Carolina, 21, they have the 21st hardest schedule remaining. So, that's one of the easier ones in the league. The New York Giants down here at number 6. 6th overall, they have the second hardest remaining schedule. So they got a few mountains to climb the rest of the way. But you've got a couple of teams tied at 4 and 8 in Chicago, Washington, and the Giants. Okay, then Tampa Bay. Then we got a couple teams at 4 and 7. Of course, this includes the Jets. So you got Tampa Bay at 4 and 7. They got the 7th spot, okay, with a 489 strength of schedule. But here's one of the things that we got to keep in mind. Their remaining strength of schedule is just 379. That is the second easiest in the league. So the point of this is, if you finish tied with Tampa Bay, chances are Tampa Bay is going to have the better draft pick. So if you're a Jets fan, one of the things you really want to root for is Tampa Bay to win a game or two, so the Jets would have a worse record than them. Now, of course, this is if you're into tanking. I know not everybody is, but eventually we have to have these draft picks, and we want to get the best player we can. So, all right. So Tampa's at 4 and 7. Now, after that, you got 3 more 4 and 7 teams. You got the Jets, the Chargers. Yes, I said San Diego. What are they going to do about it? And the Titans. Now, the Jets have a 516 strength of schedule so far. The Chargers 529. The Titans 537. The Jets, they got kind of a middle of the road strength of schedule, 19th. So kind of in the middle of the pack. San Diego's is a little bit harder. Tennessee is quite a bit harder, as a matter of fact. So to me, the Jets should be able to stay ahead of San Diego and Tennessee as far as strength of schedule goes, unless something really, really crazy happens. Then after that, you've got the Raiders at 5 and 7. You've got the Saints, the Packers, the Rams, and I think the Bengals as well, all at 5 and 6. So what you can see here, if you look at the strength of schedule, there's some teams that the Jets are ahead of, and there's some teams that the Jets are behind. New Orleans and Green Bay, much, much easier schedules than what the Jets have faced this year. So if they finish tied with the Jets, like Tampa Bay, they're probably picking ahead of the Jets. So all of this stuff, we got to keep that in mind as we go the rest of the way. And I'm actually going to go back to the first page here. So Atlanta right now would not be in the mix since they're leading their division, but they're very close to being on that chart as well. But then that game against Washington down the road, going to be a pretty big deal as far as the draft position goes. So, yeah, just want to give you a little thing on Tankathon. We'll do an update on that every week and just kind of see where it goes. Yeah, we got a nice little crowd here in the chat. Man, fantastic. Appreciate you guys coming in. This is really, really fun. I really do appreciate it. Okay, so we will do, let's see, how are we doing on time? Yeah, it's 10:50. Let's plug the computer in. There we go. That's better. All right, so what we'll do is take a quick look at the Atlanta game. I'll give you 5 key stats from Atlanta, and usually I do my quick whip around of the AFC East, but right now, I don't know. I'm just so beaten down by what's been going on. Why are we talking about Miami, Buffalo, and New England? Why would I even do that? So we'll do the 5 key stats, and then we'll do some trivia, and then we'll try this this little game that I have in mind, and we'll see how it goes. But before we do that, Wild Wave has a question. What would you do with Bryce Huff? I would sign him. I would sign him to maybe a 3 or 4 year contract. I think Bryce Huff wants to be here. I think the Jets want him here. The Jets will be losing a few players. Carl Lawson's going to go. That saves you a little bit of money. And I think with Huff, JJ, and JFM, and then Will McDonald, that's a pretty good 1 through 4 at pass rush. You could have Michael Clemens as well if you wish, as sort of a fill-in guy. But to me, he's more of a run stopper. I would give Huff I would give him. It's all about the guaranteed money, right? So it's all about that. And these pass rushers are getting $20-25 million a year. I would hope Huff would be willing to take maybe 15. If he would take 15 million a year for maybe 3 years, you could always structure these contracts how you need to. But something like 4 years, 15 million a year, I don't know, about 35 or so, 36 guaranteed, something like that. I think I'd do something like that. Yeah, the whole contract would not be fully guaranteed. You can't do that. But I would want to give him, since he is young, I want to give him a little bit longer term deal. Maybe with the longer term deal, he's willing to take a little bit less money per year. So 4 years, 15 million a year, something like that. And the guarantee a little bit over half. So about 35, 36 million guaranteed. That's where my mindset is right now, as far as Bryce Huff goes. But yeah, I'm very happy to see the way that he has developed a lot. There were definitely those of us who were big Bryce Huff supporters and people who would make fun of us for being Bryce Huff truthers, or I guess is what we were back then. But that was one thing I guess that we were right on. Been wrong on a few things, but I always had a good feeling about Bryce Huff. But I didn't know he was going to become that much better, like playing well against the run. That's what I'm really, really happy to see. The thing while Wade, you know what? I don't know. I mean, Huff hasn't been playing as much as some of these other guys, So I mean, Montez Sweat got a crazy amount of money. So, but then Trey Hendrickson got, he got in the 20s. Sweat got 98, 4 years, 98 million with 72 million guaranteed. So, yeah, again, just a starting point, 15 million. If you have to go more, you go more, but when you have a lot of defensive linemen on your team, you can't pay them all huge bank. Okay, you're only going to have JJ on a rookie contract for a little bit longer. Will McDonald you'll have for a couple of years. So I would go I like 15 for Bryce. Would I go a little higher if I had to go a little bit higher? Yes, I would. But who knows what he really wants? Yeah, so we'll see. So we'll see where all that goes. All right, let's take a quick look at the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, I'll be doing my game preview video later this week, breaking down Jets versus Falcons in a little bit more depth. 5 key Falcon stats to know going into this game. So number 1, Desmond Ridder. Man, there is not a week that goes by where I don't do a video or I don't knock Desmond Ridder. He is one. If you look at quarterbacks who are expected to start week 1, all right. So I'm leaving out Zach Wilson. In all fairness. So expected starting quarterbacks, guys who are expected to start week 1. He is one of 3 of those 32 quarterbacks to throw more. I said that wrong. More interceptions than touchdowns. I said that wrong on the slide. My bad. Yeah, 7 touchdowns to 8 interceptions. So it's less touchdowns than interceptions. The other 2 are Jimmy Garoppolo and Mac Jones. All right. So Desmond Ridder, stop. I've always felt Taylor Heineke should have been their starter. I like Heineke a lot more than what I see from Ridder. But, Arthur Smith's gone back to Ridder, so let's see how that goes. But the Falcons offense, they're doing a pretty dang good job. They average 139 rushing yards per game. That's 5th highest in the NFL. And we know as Jets fans, that's pretty much what the Jets give up on the ground every single game. Expect a lot of Bijan Robinson, Tyler Algier, Cordell Patterson. They're using him a little bit more now as well. Last week he had double-digit snaps for only the 2nd time all season. So the Falcons are sort of fine-tuning their offense at this point. So the Jets are going to have to be ready. But you look at the defense, man, Jesse Bates. This guy is something else. He has team highs in tackles, interceptions, and forced fumbles. Had a pick 6 last week. He is an absolute leader. You want to get rid of Jordan Whitehead? Let's bring in Jesse Bates. I wish. But, Atlanta signed him to a long-term contract, and it was a fantastic move by them to bring in Bates from Cincinnati. No question about it. And also with the run game, the Atlanta defense has allowed only 4 rushing touchdowns this year. Don't forget they do have Grady Jarrett, and they brought in Calais Campbell, who the Jets, there was thought that the Jets would bring in Calais Campbell from Baltimore. Atlanta won out, and he's been giving them some much needed leadership and much needed confidence. But one of the issues Atlanta has is they are -6 in turnover differential, and there are only 5 teams in the NFL worse than that with turning the football over. So this is going to have to be another one of those games where the Jets turn the offense over, and they'll probably have to do it multiple times because, let's be honest, until we see this offense actually perform like I'm not going to say an NFL offense, like a Division I AA offense, why should we suspect they will be anything different than what we have seen for the last 2 months? Why should we believe it? Because I'm done giving the Jets the benefit of the doubt. I just can't do it on offense. Absolutely can't do it. All right, guys. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do. We're going to have a little bit of fun right now. And we are going to play a little bit of Jets trivia. It will be some Jets versus Falcons trivia. So everybody, prepare for trivia. All right, everybody. So by now, I'm sure most of you know how this works. I'm going to put a question on the screen, and I will set the timer for 5 minutes, and we'll see if the chat can get the question within the allotted time frame. So here is your question for tonight, November 29, 2023. The Jets played the Falcons on October 24, 2005. It was the first time those two teams had played each other in 7 years. Atlanta won the game 27-14, but in that game, the Jets picked Michael Vick off 3 times. Can you name the 3 Jets who had an interception in that game? 2005. 5 minutes are on the clock. A little swig of water for the working man and woman. Knobcraft was at that game. Well, Knobcraft, the rest of the chat's going to be counting on you. Don't worry, you only got about 15 million people watching you. Knobcraft got arrested after that game. Okay, Knobcraft, we need the arrest story in the comments. Let's have it. You can't tell us you got her. This is part of the deal. You can't tell us you got arrested and not provide us with some details on that. I'm willing to bet it wasn't for littering. I'm willing to bet it was for something a little bit. I'm willing to bet there was an Atlanta Falcons fan that got involved or something like that. I'm just willing to bet. I don't know. Oh my gosh. All right. So 3 Jets who had an interception against Atlanta in 2005. Hank G says too early for Revis. Yeah, a little bit early for number 24. I don't think he'd been drafted yet. Yeah, he was like another year or 2 down the road. Okay. Revis was drafted in 2007. Yep. I knew it was like right around 06, 07. I knew it was one of those 2 years. Knobcraft, I got into a fight on Atlanta public transit because a Falcons fan didn't like my jet ski. Cops found me concealing a knife. Yo, did you take the knife into the Georgia Dome? Wow. On the MARTA, I believe it was the train. It's like, yeah, the Atlanta has very limited public transportation. It's like a big cross. It's like a letter T, a lowercase T, and like east, west, north, south. They apparently didn't come up with the idea like in New York or in Chicago, you could actually go sideways or diagonally. So they didn't quite figure that one out. Harlan Abraham, Aaron Glenn, and James Hasty. Not quite the right time frame, my friend. Oh boy. Yep, Knobcraft. Yep, on the MARTA train. Yeah. I've never been a big fan of Atlanta. I've said this before and I'll say it again. The only 3 good things to come out of Atlanta, Georgia are Coca-Cola, Sweetwater beer, and Martin Luther King Jr. And you can't count Chick-fil-A because that came from Hateville, which is a suburb. Doesn't count as Atlanta. Oh my gosh. Don't ask me how I got a knife through the. Forget the trivia. We're just going to hear Knob's arrest story. I think that's going to kind of be the highlight of the night at this rate. Don't ask me how I got a knife through the metal detectors. I didn't know I had it on me. That actually happened to a family member of mine who works in an airport. I'm not going to mention who. out of respect. But yeah, they had a big knife to like cut some fruit up. Forgot that it was in their bag, and let's just say that it was a very scary moment. Trying to like bring a knife in through security, and you work for the airlines. Not a good look. Not a good look, but everything worked out okay. What about The Walking Dead? That's in Atlanta. The Waking Jets mess. Did you mean The Walking Dead? I know The Walking Dead. The Waking Dead? I never did. I haven't actually seen it. Yeah, I got to be honest. I never saw it. I never saw it. I'm so far behind when it comes to TV. I got to be honest. All right, guys, come on. We got to. So far, we've been. You got a minute 30 seconds left, and unfortunately, we don't have a correct answer yet. Knobcraft says, "Oh, one of the all-time greats, Dwayne Robertson." For that answer, I'm giving you a very special buzzer. Oh, that's right. We got some new toys to play with. The sound effects today. Yeah, well, we had 3 picks of Michael Vick, and we still lost the game, and we lost rather convincingly. Yeah. 2005 was not our best season, to say the least. Wild Wave says Jonathan Vilma. Is it Vilma? Oh yes, it is Vilma. That is one. The other 2 are defensive backs. I will give you that. All right. So no defensive linemen are an answer here. Grandizer said Herschel Savage. That sounds like a reject from like the Dodgeball movie or something like that. Not quite Herschel Savage. All right, 30 seconds left on the clock, ladies and germs. Then after this, we'll try like the little thing that I have in mind. We'll see if we can make that work. Okay. All right, so 2 more Jets who had interceptions of Michael Vick in 2005. Nick is here, the great proud New York Jets fan. As the buzzer goes off. Yep. Okay, Nick. So just to give you a heads up on the question, you can see it right there on the screen. Name the 3 Jets who picked off Michael Vick in 2005. So Jonathan Vilma was one of them. Okay. Right now, Vilma is the only correct answer that we have. Yeah, I love Vilma. I was a big Vilma fan. Yeah, his spots with Joe and Evan on WFAN were always pretty entertaining. It was like so often you knew Vilma just wanted to say stuff, but he was like he wasn't allowed to say the things he wanted to say. He couldn't even tell them what knee he was having surgery on. He couldn't even say it was the right knee or the left knee, but he could tell him he was going to have surgery and he was going to be out for the season. Just it was like the CIA under Mangini. Oh god, I was just not a Mangini guy. Never was. Frustrating. Nick says Robinson. Which Robinson are you referring to exactly? It doesn't matter. It's not correct, but I'm just curious which Robinson. Damian Robinson? I don't know. No, it's not. It is not Robinson. Let's see here. So the other 2 players are cornerbacks. 2005, they are cornerbacks. Donnie or Damian? I think you mean Donnie Abraham, right? I think you might. I'm wondering if you refer to Donnie. I don't know Donnie Robinson. Damian Robinson, yes. But I think maybe you meant Donnie Abraham, which is a good guess, but unfortunately, neither one are correct. All right, guys, let's see. Both are cornerbacks, 2005. I'm not sure how much else I can give you. Proud New York Jets fan, is he Hall of Famer? He might be. Yeah, one of them just might be in the Hall of Fame. That's a very good train of thought. Kerry Rhodes, Knobcraft says, no, not Kerry Rhodes. They were cornerbacks, so not a safety here. Not a safety. So same thing with Eric Coleman. Yep, he was a safety as well. Yep, Nick and Knobcraft both said Ty Law. There you go. Yep, Ty Law is another one. Oh, there we go. Almost took the comments off the screen, but there we go. Yeah, we're good. All right. Other one I think is going to be the toughest one to get. This is a name where I think if I said it, it'd be like, oh yeah, but I hadn't thought about him in a long time. Let's see what I could do. I think he played, I want to say with the Arizona Cardinals. Pretty sure he was a Cardinal. I'm going to look him up real quick. Yeah, he played with the Cardinals at one time. Was he a starting corner? I'm pretty sure. Yeah, pretty sure he was. Yeah. Yeah, played with the Cardinals and he played with the Jets. Oh, he actually made an appearance on ABC's Extreme Makeover Home Edition at one time. Huh. That's a little bit random. Yep, David Barrett, that is it. That's it. Very good. Yep, so those were the correct answers. Jonathan Vilma, Ty Law, and David Barrett. That was it. All right. Good job, guys. Okay, so I want to try something a little bit different, something we have never done on the show before, something I have never seen anybody else do before. Yep. Yeah, the home edition. Oh, Nick was watching Extreme Makeover Home Edition. I didn't know that. By your own free will, Nick? Is that what happened? Knowing Nick, this is where he usually texts me privately, to avoid giving out the details. But that's all right. All right, so I'm going to try to do something. Haven't tried to do this before, but we're going to give it a try. So, if you all have ever seen that randomizer game where you just randomly have like a whole bunch of different items or things or people, and then you rank them as you go along and you try to make the list. Okay, so that is what we're going to try to do. So I am going to share my screen. Let's see. Let's do this. I can't do it this way. I'm gonna have to do one thing at a time here. So we're gonna hit share screen. Okay. And I'm gonna share the entire screen. Okay. So now you should all be able to see everything I see. Okay. So I got a wheel here of 100 random New York Jets. So hopefully everybody can see this. Hopefully everything looks good. So what we're gonna do is spin the wheel, and we're gonna do this 10 times. All right. Now I'm going to be watching the chat. No, you can't see me, but I'll be watching the chat. And what we're going to do is rank them as we pick them. So, for instance, if we get Joe Namath, okay, now there's no current Jets here, no current Jets who are playing. We got Joe Namath, you'd probably rank him as a number 1. If you got, say, Tremaine Johnson, you'd rank him as a number 10, like pretty much the bottom of the barrel. So, we're going to randomly spin this wheel 10 times, and then we're going to watch the chat. I'm going to watch the chat, and you guys tell me where you want me to rank the player, and I'll keep track of the list. And at the end, we're going to look at the list and see if we got it right. So if our rankings 1 through 10, our best player down to worst player. All right. So I hope that makes sense. So we're going to have a little bit of fun here. So I am going to, guessing you can see the wheel. Everything should look good. Oh, thanks for the compliment, Knobcraft. I appreciate that. Yeah, I always liked game shows growing up. I was definitely a game show guy. So I got 100 random, we'll call them former Jets or Jets who are not currently playing. All right. And believe me, there's quite a variety on this list. Okay, so we're going to spin the wheel, and let's see who we get first. Our first Jet is Brian Poole. Okay. Yeah. So Hank G, so 1 is best and 10 is worst. Yes, that's exactly right. So if you think this is like the best Jet that we're going to get, that's a 1. If you think it's the worst, it's a 10. If you think he's middle of the road, you might want to go like a 5 or a 4, So Grandizer with the 1 and Proud New York Jets says 10. I always thought Brian Poole was a pretty good nickel cornerback. I thought he had 2 good years with the Jets, and then he kind of disappeared. I didn't think he was all that bad. All right, so Hank G says 8, Knobcraft says 9, Wild Wave says 9, JW says 9. That's right. David D is exactly right. Big bucks, no whammies. I was hoping you guys would enjoy this. All right. Yeah, so what I'm going to do is just try to take an assessment of kind of where the chat is. Then we'll assign a number, and we'll go from there. All right. So the vibe I'm getting, we got a 1. Yeah. He's not a 1 or a 10, so I'll kind of let it go. But it's quite a bit of 9s. Jets Mess said 5. I think we're going to make him. I think I want to make Brian Poole an 8. I think Poole is a pretty fair game to be an 8. So yeah, if you guys are cool with an 8, then I think that's what I'm gonna make him. Just because Alex Wiener says too. Hey, Alex. So again, 1 would be the best, 10 would be the worst, but of course we can use every number only one time. Okay, so be careful. So if you say Poole's a 9, that means we're going to get 8 more Jets on this wheel who are better than Brian Poole. So just keep that in mind. All right. All right. Well, we're going to do 9 more. So I'm going to give Brian Poole, I'm going to put him as the 8. Okay, and I'm writing this down. So Brian Poole is the 8. All right. So let's spin the wheel again, and if we land on the same player, we'll just respin. We're not going to have the same player twice. And we are going to land on with number 2, Brandon Moore. Oh yes, one of the most maybe underappreciated New York Jets, maybe of all time, undrafted from the University of Illinois as a defensive lineman, converted to the offensive line and gave the Jets 10 good years. All right, chat, this is where you come in. Where should I rank Brandon Moore on this list? Nick Shine comes in with a 5. Okay. Wild Wave says 5 as well. JW only a 6. I got to be honest. I thought Moore would get a little bit more love than this. A little bit more love. Okay. Hank G with a 6. Knobcraft. Ooh, Knobcraft's a tough critic. He's a 9. Wow. I can warn you, not everybody on this jet is a great jet. Just letting you know. Alex Wiener really likes the number 2. I think we figured that much out. All right. We'll give you give you a few more seconds. Grandizer says a 4. Yeah, coming from the Dolphins side of things. Okay. 17, 26, 20, 32. All right, right now I'm feeling kind of middle of the pack. I think I might go with the 5. Unless I see some other ones come in. And I know we got a few more people in the chat, so let's see. All right, I think I'm going to go ahead. I'll give Brandon Moore the 5. Okay. So far we've got Brandon Moore at 5, and we've got Brian Poole at 8. So we got to fill in all the other numbers. Okay. Let's spin the wheel for the 3rd time. Here we go. I wish I had like a spinning sound effect that I could play, but. Ooh. Doug Bryan. Oh! Ooh, that hurts. Yeah. Decent kicker at times, but unfortunately, the lasting memory that he will have will never, ever be good. Yeah, Doug Bryan. Okay, guys, this is your time. Are we ranking Brian? Nick ranks him at 74. All right, guys. I'm willing to bet Doug Bryan's going to be low on the list. So would you rank him? And Brian Poole is the 8. So would you rank Doug Bryan as 7, 9, 10? Yeah. Oh, yeah. This one's a tough one. JW 10, Hank G 9, Wild Wave 10, Nick Shine with a 10. Oh, man, this hurts. Doug Bryan getting no love whatsoever. I still say that Herman Edwards should have been a little bit more aggressive with that offense. Yeah. Everyone is better without even seeing all the names. All right, let's see. 9, 9, 10, 10, 10. Knobcraft. I know Brian Poole looks like a god now. Yeah, I know. That's why I felt Poole. Yeah, I thought the chat was a little tough on Poole, but I'm doing this with you guys. So, all right. I think I'm going to put Brian. All right, so 10, 9, 10, 10, 9. Knobcraft R4, not even sure what that would mean, but I'm willing to bet it's not good. All right, well, right now we have a majority of, I can't read 6 more bad Jets messages. I'm going to go ahead and put him on the bottom. Number 10. We had 3 10s on him, so the hope is that we don't land on any Jets who are worse than Doug Bryan. All right, so we got our 5, our 8, and our 10. So we got to start spinning, landing on some good Jets here. All right, let's spin. This is spin number 4. And we are landing on, this looks good. Mark Gastineau. Oh, definitely one of the best pass rushers of all time. Hopefully a future Hall of Famer. Hank G says saving 10 for Hackenberg. Yep, you might have seen he is definitely on the wheel. No doubt about it. All right, where are we putting Mark Gastineau, everybody? Yep. This is a very good one. Hank G says 1. Nick Shine says 2. Knobcraft with a 1. Wild Wave 1. JW 1. Man, Jets fans love number 99. Jets mess one. Oh, man, I'm calling it right there. Nobody's going to beat Mark Gastineau. He gets number 1. Excellent, excellent. All right, so far we've got Mark Gastineau at 1, Brandon Moore at 5, Brian Poole at 8, and Doug Bryan at 10. So we got 6 spots still to fill here. All right, let's spin that wheel. This is spin number 5. Oh, this should be an interesting one. Chad Morton, a very, very good returner. Returned 2 touchdowns, I believe, in that opening game against Buffalo back in 2002, and unfortunately was part of the raid that the Washington Redskins had when they poached Morton, Lavernius Coles, John Hall, and Randy Thomas all the way from the Jets in the same offseason. So Chad Morton, where are we going to rank Chad Morton in this, guys? Yeah, we've got the numbers we got left are 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 9. So I would think, yeah, I think I have an idea kind of where this might wind up. Yeah, I was thinking 6 or 7. That's kind of what everybody's leaning towards. Knobcraft 7, Hank G 7, JW 6, Wild Wave 7, Nick says 5 or 6. Yep, Brandon Moore's got the 5 locked up. Yeah, 6. All right, so we're kind of in the middle of 6 and 7. This could kind of go either way. But right now we've got 3 voting 7 and 2 voting 6. All right. So anybody else who wants to vote, yeah, put your numbers down there. Just give this a few more seconds, but right now I'm leaning towards the 7, unless I see something else come up. Let's give it a few more seconds. Okay. I think we're pretty good. I'm going to give Chad Morton the 7 spot. All right. All right, so that's 5 down, 5 to go. So remaining, we've got spots 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9. So we still need to land on some good Jets. And here we go. Spin number 6. Spin number 6. Oh, Muhammad Wilkerson. That's a pretty polarizing Jet right there. You know, it was started off great, became a better and better player, but man, the fall really, really hurts. Nick, kudos for taking the time to type all these names. Want to save this and do it on Friday night? Yeah, we could do this. Yeah, absolutely. I just have to share the screen. Yeah, we could definitely do that. All right, guys. So we could do. So while we don't have a 7 left, so here are the numbers we have: 2, 3, 4, 6, and 9. All right. So where are we going to put Mo Wilk? And remember, Brandon Moore is 5. Chad Morton is 7. So let's just think about it. With Brandon Moore, would you rate Mo Wilkerson as a better Jet or a worse Jet than Brandon Moore? Just think that one over, and if you'd like to change your vote, you absolutely can do that. Nick, I wanted to type a number, but I quit just like Wilkerson did after getting paid. Yeah. That hurt. Yep, that was a rough one. All right, so we're seeing 2 4s, a bunch of 6s. We got a 7 here. It looks like we're leaning towards the 6 on this one. Okay, yep, that's good enough for me. All right, got about 4 6s. I'm good with that one. All right, so Mo Wilk. All right, so to give you a quick recap, we've got Mark Gastineau at 1. Then we have 2, 3, 4 that are blank. Brandon Moore 5, Mo Wilk 6, Chad Morton 7, Brian Poole 8, 9 is blank, and number 10 is Doug Bryan. I think so far we're doing pretty well, but we got to come up with 3 Jets that would be in between Mark Gastineau and Brandon Moore, and then our number 9, somebody who is somehow a better Jet than Doug Bryan. All right, 4 spins to go. Here we go. And we were going to land on Brian Winters. Brian Stormy Winters. 2, 3, 4, 9. Is there any doubt where I should put him? I feel like I don't even have to. He was okay. He was workmanlike, but I mean, come on. Like every team's got a Brian Winters, right? So the only numbers I've got left, guys, are 2, 3, 4, and 9. Should I just put him in the 9, right? So, I mean, real. Another one of those offensive linemen that the Buffalo Bills poach from us. They love taking our offensive linemen: Van Roten, Ducasse, Winters. And they always take our bad offensive linemen. That's the funny part about it. Brian Winters, Nick says, went through his ex-girlfriend's Instagram one night and like 17 straight photos. Hey, if I had a girlfriend and Brian Winters liked the photos on her, I wouldn't say anything to him. That's all I know. All right, I'm pretty sure Brian Winters is the 9. So we got so we have 3 Brians in a row here. At 8 we have Brian Poole, 9 we have Brian Winters, and 10 we have Doug Bryan. Yeah, the Jets haven't had a whole lot of luck with guys named Brian, have they? Okay, so that leaves us with 3 spins, and we've got 2, 3, and 4 blank. So remember, 5 was Brandon Moore, 6 is Muhammad Wilkerson, and 1 was Mark Gastineau. So we want 3 Jets in between Gastineau and Moore. But I think so far we're doing really well. Let's spin that wheel, and let's see what we land on. Oh, no, 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 no! Oh! Pardon me. I gotta do one thing here for that. Just for that, I have to play this. Not good. Dwayne freaking Robertson, whatever the hell his name is. All right, guys. The only thing while we redo the list, see, that's the thing. When you get to the end of it, you can be doing pretty well, but when you get to the last 2 or 3, it gets pretty difficult. So for me, I wish we had put Brian Winters at 4, so we had the number 9 for Dwayne Robertson. Nick says top 11. Yeah. Sadly, the game doesn't work that way. See, that's the fun of it, That's the fun of it. Hank G, can we give him the 9.5? I wish we could. All of a sudden, I think that's what I was like. Yeah, Brian Poole's a little bit better than we thought. Yeah, Wild Wave. You got to remember, he was drafted, I think, 4th overall, and the Jets traded up 2 first-round picks and a 4th round to Chicago to trade up for this guy. And within about 2 games, we knew he was absolutely useless. Useless. Yeah, Dwayne Robertson. I'm surprised he doesn't get more hate as one of the biggest busts the Jets have ever drafted. But unfortunately, we got to put him in the 4 spot, because that's the lowest spot we have left. All right. All right, let's spin again. We've got number 2, we've got number 3 left to go. Is this going to be Mo again? Oh, dear God. Oh! One of the biggest draft busts to maybe the biggest free agent bust in the history of the New York Jets, Trumaine $72 million Johnson. What can I say? Hey, he did have a couple of interceptions in his career, but oh my gosh, he let the biggest no-name receivers beat him like a drum. He did not give a shit about playing for the Jets. He didn't. Wow. 4 years, $72 million. It's all I could think of, man. We were on a hot streak, but man, we are hitting the bottom of the barrel on this one. All right. I don't even want to see his name anymore. Let's do one more spin. Whoever this is going to be number 2 on the list. And it's going to be, and we already have Brian Poole. We're going to respin. Richie Anderson. Okay. All right. So Richie fits in at number 2. I gotta say, I don't know if I would have Richie quite that high on the list. I don't know if I'd have him above Brandon Moore. I think he'd be right around that area. Brandon Moore, Muhammad Wilkerson. So the way that our list finished is I'm gonna X out of here and stop sharing the screen. Let's come back up. Okay, there we go. Okay, so our final list, 1 through 10, was Mark Gastineau 1, Richie Anderson 2, Trumaine Johnson 3, Dwayne Robertson 4, Brandon Moore 5, Muhammad Wilkerson 6, Chad Morton 7, Brian Poole 8, Brian Winters 9, and Doug Bryan 10. All right. So, yeah, I think we might do this a little bit more. Maybe in the future we'll do this, for maybe a certain number of likes. This is something we could do. Easy way. I know. Well, wait, that's the fun of it, because you could be doing really well for the first 5, 6, maybe even 7 picks. But by the time you start to run out of numbers and you have to plug some guys in, it gets a little bit crazier, and that's when you wind up with Dwayne Robertson and Tremaine freaking Johnson. If you move those two down, other than that, I thought it was a pretty good list. So, but as far as whether this is a win or a loss, I think we pretty much have to acknowledge this is a loss for us. So, but I'm glad you guys enjoyed this. So yeah, we'll do this a little bit more in the future. Oh God, the last time Nick had an amazing idea. Oh boy, yeah, yeah, the last time he had a great idea. I was yeah, okay. Oh boy, but yeah, there's 100 different Jets on that list. Maybe I'll change some names in and out here and there. Maybe I'll sneak some current players in there from time to time. But right now, I mean, there's a few Jets that go back to the Super Bowl days. There's a few of those, a tiny bit from the 70s, but by the most part, it's 80s, 90s, 2000s. So that we have a reasonable feel on who they are. But with the Super Bowl team, it's the most notable guys. It's Namath, it's Maynard, it's Jerry Philbin, the great pass rusher. I think Matt Snell's on the list too. So there's a couple of Super Bowl Jets there too. We do a biggest draft bust list. Oh, I'm going to need more than 5. Yeah, we could definitely do that list. Yeah, definitely no problem. Yeah, for sure. All right, guys. Well, it is almost 11:30. We have been here for an hour and a half. Man, we had a great turnout for the chat tonight. Man, that was really awesome. And I'm also really happy. My most recent video, I had a hockey video about the Rangers and them shuffling the roster a little bit. That's got over 1,500 views. I got no idea how, but I'm thrilled that it happened. But yeah, there's a whole lot of exciting stuff going on in the world of New York sports. The baseball free agency is heating up. The hockey teams, for the most part, doing pretty well. Islanders in a little bit of an identity crisis, but the Rangers doing great. Devils, I think, are about to heat up. It's just a shame we got football to screw everything up, isn't it? And yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate that. It was just a little fun idea I had that I got from watching a video about pro wrestling. They did kind of not the same thing, but that kind of an idea. And I thought, well, shoot, we can do this on the show. So I think the only thing I want to do to make it a little better is find a way to show the list on the screen in progress as we do it. That way I'm not just reading it to you. So if we could figure out a way to make that happen, I think that would take it to maybe make it one level better. So anyone has any ideas on how I could do that, my contact info is in the description. You can just email me, watsu99@gmail.com. In fact, I'm going to, just in case, anybody wants to reach out, anybody has any suggestions or feedback, I'm actually giving you my email address, okay? Yeah. So boom, there's my email. No problem. No, just because they're having talks doesn't mean they're getting both. And by the way, it's Yamasoto. It's Yamasoto. Here's the thing. I'm not interested in trading for Juan Soto. He's a free agent after next year. But yeah, whoever gets Yamamoto, that team is going to be very, very fortunate. They're going to be in great shape. And a lot of teams are going to be doing it. A lot of teams are going to be looking at him, and they should be. So my thought, honestly, though, is this. If he I would rather him go to, as a Mets fan, I'd rather him go to the Yankees than, say, the Braves or the Phillies or the Dodgers. So put him in the American League if he's not going to be a Met. That's how I really feel. Hey, you do the same, but rank Jets seasons. Okay. Well, I mean, we could do that. We could do that. I think like some of the years they kind of run together a little bit. I feel like, for instance, like 2012 and 13 kind of run together when you're getting to the end of the Rex years. The whole Adam Gase era kind of runs together. I mean, we could, but I feel like with the Jets, a lot of those years kind of run together. I mean, I might do, I don't know, like maybe 20 of them or something like that. Years that actually stand out. It has to be a year that stands out, like 94 with the fake spikes, something like that. We could do 68 for the Super Bowl, stuff like that. But I want to make sure they're years that stand out for whatever reason. I put in the Lou Holtz here. I do some stuff like that. So, yeah. So, yeah, we can, I can always create more wheels. There's always different ways we could do this. We could do it with coaches, all kinds of cool things that we could do. But yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. But I think we'll do the players more than anything, because there's just so much variety. We got 100 players that we put on this thing, and believe me, we could do more. We could definitely do more, because again, I only have one current player on the wheel. Not going to tell you who it is, because we didn't land on them. But I will say that it would cause reaction. So, but we might sneak players in at one point. David D with the first super chat of the night. Thank you for the $2. I definitely appreciate that. Absolutely. Thank you so much, my friend. Thank you. Well, Wave, you can go after young stars, but are you willing to spend the money to get the young stars? See, that's the question, friend. That's the question. I don't know. George ain't here anymore. I don't know. Is that what Brian Cashman wants to do? I don't know. And I'm not a Yankee hater. I'm not. I'm really not. I respect the organization. Just that certain Yankee fans can be really annoying. And I know Mets fans can be annoying too. Every fan base has a very annoying segment of it. We all know that. We all know that. But to me, the Yankees haven't really been going the extra mile in free agency and trades in quite some time. So I don't know if they're going to do it this year. We'll see. Mess around and put Adam Gase one. Yeah, we could do that. The race between Adam Gase, Lou Holtz, and Charlie Winter is definitely on. Oh boy, yeah. I don't know how many coaches there have been. We could do a couple things here. Yeah, coaches. I'll do that. Seasons. Yeah, I don't know how many seasons I'm gonna have. I might have like 20 to 25. I think that's probably what I would do. But yeah, we could do that. We could just do jet quarterbacks. We could just focus on only the quarterbacks. I think that would be fun. It would be tragic, but it'd be fun. We will not do Jets content providers. That is not going to happen. Beat writers, I think we'll leave that one out. Oh my gosh. Individual seasons, that's a little bit hard because the only thing with individual stat seasons, Nick, is when you're comparing, how do you compare a defensive lineman to a wide receiver? It's a little, and then how do you get like an offensive lineman involved? So yeah, that makes it a little more challenging. But I think quarterbacks, I think coaches, I think individual seasons, we, as a team, we could do that. We could do that. Morstead and Tupa at number one for quarterbacks. Yes, just ahead of Quincy Carter. Absolutely. No doubt about it. Yep. Hey, I'll even throw in Braden Mann. He had a pretty good. I have to throw Braden Mann on that list too. He had a pretty good fake punt one time against Cleveland last year, along with the onside kick. So let's throw Braden Mann right in there too. Why don't we? Possibly a future Super Bowl winner in Braden Mann. Just pointing it out. We could even do draft classes. We could do draft classes. It's just I have to mention who was in that draft class. But we could do that too. I just thought of that one, draft classes. Maybe we could try that out. Or famous Jets games. We could do that too. It's just one of those things. You need a good variety of things. You need like at least, if you're going to do like a top 10 list, you really need like at least 20 to 25 really to have some variety. Otherwise, you're coming back to the same things over and over again. So that's just the one thing you have to keep in mind when we do these sorts of things. All right, guys. I think, yeah, it's about 11:35, and I got to get up pretty early in the morning as I usually do on Thursday. So I think we're going to call it a night. But I definitely want to thank everybody for stopping in today and everybody who will be watching the video. So just what's coming up on the channel. We'll be doing our confidence picks on Thursday for the week. I am on a hot streak with my picks over the 90 percentile now. Feeling pretty good about it. We'll be doing our Jets-Falcons preview video, the bold predictions video. After Jets-Falcons, we'll do the 3 key plays you may not remember that affected the outcome of the game. I don't know if I have another Jets rant left in me, but never underestimate the ability of the Jets to pull out your most negative emotions. All right, everybody. Have a great night, and I will see you right back here with more content from you know where. The Wicker Chair. Have a